Welcome to Sleek Notes E-Commerce Boost Podcast, your chance to learn from the e-commerce experts so you can boost your business.
Hello there. This episode is all about helping your business grow by implementing conversational marketing. This way, your website will have an even better user experience. Daniel Murphy from Drift will guide you through all the advantages of conversational marketing so you can improve your communication with your customers. Let's go. Dan, welcome so much on this show. I'm really happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Can you just start out by presenting yourself?
Sure. So I'm Dan Murphy. I am on the Drift marketing team. Drift is the first and only conversational marketing platform. It's the new way businesses buy from businesses. Before I was at Drift, I was at another SaaS startup company here in Boston, Massachusetts, and I was a customer of Drift. And what happened was I kind of saw the value of using the product. The reality is that sales and marketing is wrong. The way we do sales and marketing is broken. And so I saw Drift's product, like at the early stages, was a good solution to fixing a lot of the problems with sales and marketing. And so I kind of fell in love with it. And then I quit my job and I came to work here. That's kind of the background on it.
Cool. And as you just said, we will speak about conversational marketing today. So can you just begin by elaborating a little bit of what's wrong with the current way we do marketing?
Yeah. So if you think about the way we communicate nowadays, we communicate through messaging, or we predominantly communicate through messaging. Good examples are Slack. So in the workplace, we're using Slack to communicate with our colleagues, to share work, to get work done, to organize work. In our personal life, we use text messaging, we use Facebook Messenger, we use Apple's iMessage. But the problem is the way we communicate as a business to our prospects and our customers. We do it through, long processes of form submissions and then email follow-ups and a longer process than is sometimes necessary. One-to-one conversations has a huge impact and is very powerful for actually helping people buy.
So how would you say that conversational marketing can solve the problem that it's too personal or too cold in the way we connect with customers?
Yeah, so the thinking behind conversational marketing, if I'm getting to the actual definition, I think what we've written as a definition is real-time messaging connecting people one-on-one, right? And yeah, we have chatbots, and I can talk about those and how that fits into the whole methodology. But connecting real people, whether it's a sales rep or a support person or a marketer, one of the things we built with our own platform is we put our faces, our sales team, our marketers, our support people, everyone that's using Drift on our website, we put their faces everywhere so that when you're communicating with someone, you're talking to another human being, you know their name, you see their face. It is far more personal than emails that come from no reply at company.com or signed off as the marketing team from whatever. It's about getting people to communicate, which is really what business is about, right? It's communication. And so we're I don't want to say we're going back to the basics, but we're going back to the simple principle of when you get two people to communicate, that's when business occurs. And that's where there's the most power. And so we're trying to build a platform to help people have more conversations.
And at what stage do you think that people stop communicating? I mean, do you think it's because we don't have enough time we do these lead capture forms why do you think this problem's occurred?
Yeah, I think it has to do with scalability. I think it has to do with businesses focusing on maybe vanity metrics, focusing on marketers get too in the weeds about what is my conversion rate on this landing page? What is my click rate on this email? What is any data point basically for any campaign or initiative? We focus on the data, we focus on these numbers, and they're vanity metrics in many cases. When in reality, the thing you're supposed to be thinking about as a marketer or as a salesperson is getting the right people into conversations, and then if they're the right fit for the product, closing them into customers, right? But I think we kind of have this too narrow focus of these tiny little things within marketing and sales. What conversational marketing is all about is focusing on, the personal connection, the one-to-one connection, the finding value and communicating benefits versus, I've worked in the situations before of, we're focusing on these vanity metrics, these tiny little parts of the funnel, or these, metrics that don't indicate people. At the end of the day, we're all people and we want to communicate as people. We don't want to communicate and be looked at or thought of as a lead or as an MQL or as a conversion rate, right? We want to be thinking about who we are as people, and we want to be treated like that. So we use this analogy of the storefront. We use it a lot, and we talk about when you aren't using conversational marketing and we aren't using something like Drift on your website, it's kind of like having an empty storefront. It's like having your website be empty and not having anyone there to kind of help the person that's on your website through the process or give them the information they need.
So just to grab the ball on what you just said about the metrics, because I was going to say, will the implementation of conversational marketing not mean that you have to look at some different metrics instead of like clicks and calls? Are they still relevant if you do conversational marketing?
Totally. I mean, look, I'm not saying that the only metrics you should look at are like site traffic, leads, and then who you closed, right? I'm not saying that you need to completely, take a full step back and change everything about your funnel. Focus on things like reply rate, which is something that most email tools don't use. Like if you try out many other marketing automation systems or email tools, widgets, whatever, they focus on the opens, the clicks, unsubscribes, bounce rates, all those metrics. Okay, great. But at the end of the day, how many conversations did you have? So you'll see Drift come out with metrics for our email tool with reply rate with a lot of the metrics being centered around reply as opposed to some of those other metrics.
All right. So tell me, I just want to know, is Drift the only company that does conversational marketing tools? Or I'm just thinking, okay, can you do it any other way than to be a customer with you guys?
Sure. So yes, I believe you can do conversational marketing without Drift. I think it's an approach. It's not a tool. I think the way we're building our product is around the approach. We're learning about this approach and we're evolving. We're kind of a lab within a company and testing this and trying it ourselves. And so we're learning, the best approaches, and then we're building that best approach into our product. A good example of that is we're building out a suite of email tools. We just launched Drift Sequences, which is sales email automation, and that connects, email automation to real-time messaging on your website. Another example would be chatbots. Conversational marketing, a big part of it is building intelligent bots that can talk to your people on your website and figure out what they're looking for, figure out if they're qualified for a conversation with your sales team, and go as far as booking a meeting with your sales team. So a lot of other live chat tools don't have that. That's why we don't think of Drift as live chat. We think of it as a platform for conversational marketing. But you could kind of stitch together, I think, other tools and achieve a similar approach to conversational marketing.
Right. Okay. So conversational marketing is not equal with Drift. It's more like an approach, and you can do it if you don't necessarily have the budget or just want to try a little bit of it.
Sure, and I would encourage that too, right? If you're a smaller startup, I think from a pricing structure, from what I've seen, I don't think that we're super high end. But if you just want to try with another live chat tool and just start having conversations, that's that people on your website, that's great. And you're starting an approach to conversational marketing.
Sure. So I want to go a bit more into depth in what conversational marketing can potentially do for an e-commerce. But I'm sure many of our listeners are sitting there thinking, is this scalable? Is this something we can scale? Because, everything basically has to be scalable before you would think of it as something you would invest in. Is conversational marketing scalable, or is it just one person live chatting with one visitor?
Yeah, so that is a very valid question. And I would say if at the surface level, all you were doing was trying to maintain conversations with people on your website without any extra tools, to sort of sort through or filter, then it would not be scalable. And in fact, that's what we did at the beginning. We had live chat at the beginning of our product. We had a live chat tool. We started having conversations with our own website. And then we started realizing, and this kind of gets back to this idea, like we had, it's really fun to be in the marketing team here because we're at the center of testing conversational marketing and sort of trying to pilot it and then share it with our customers and share it with people that are using our product and then share it with our product team to help build out tools and features to make it scalable. But I would say over the course of the last year and a half, we've been adding so much into the tool to be able to do conversational marketing at scale. And a couple examples of that, a great one is lead routing, right? So Drift can connect to Salesforce, and it can look at the owner of any individual contact, like the sales owner, and it can route that sales owner into the conversation, right? You add that sales owner into a Drift, and you can connect that person with their lead when they come on the website and say, hey, I have a question, or hey, I want to book a demo, or whatever. Another scalability factor that we built into Drift is the chatbots. We can't expect our customers to have someone manning the website 24/7. That's not going to happen. The thing is, people are coming to your website 24/7, right? They're coming from all across the world. You can't just expect, just because you're Eastern time, that everyone's just going to come all across when you're in the office, right? So that's why we built bots that can, ask questions and figure out what someone came to the website for and direct them in the right direction. A good example of that is one of our customers, Bandwidth. They basically have cell phone networks and a bunch of other things, and they have an inside sales team. And what happens is, a lot of times when people get a cold call and they see the number, they'll Google that number, and what will happen is it'll lead that person back to the Bandwidth website. It's not that the Bandwidth company had called them, it's just that number was on their network. And so people will come to their website and they'll start asking, hey, why'd you call me, whatever, or just looking for more information. And of course, Bandwidth knows what's going on. This happens to them all the time. So they have this huge segment of traffic. I think it was like 25% of their traffic that was coming to the site and asking for, an answer to why you called me. And Bandwidth can automate that process now because they have bots on the website. They're using Drift, and they have a bot on the website saying, hey, did you come to the site for this reason? And people are like, yeah, that's why I came here. And then say, okay, here, click here. And they have some information like, hey, we didn't call you. This is just because it's our network. We happen to show up in Google for this, just an explanation. I think it gives them some more context, right? So that's an example where before people were coming to their website and they were asking if, you call me, whatever, and that was going to a human, right? And the human was having to answer that question. Now with the bot, you're automating that process. And I think I was talking to Dan London over there, who's their VP of Revenue Marketing, and he said it increased their sales productivity significantly because they had a bot sending people in a certain direction and giving them the answer to their question. So there's a lot of scalability factors there.
If all of this sounds great, you still might be wondering how to get started on conversational marketing. What are the options in conversational marketing, and what would be a good tool to start off with? Here's Dan's answer.
We were actually talking the other day about one of our VP of product here, Craig. He was talking about a friend of his who has a organic mattress company. You can sell the mattresses on his site. So stemming off that, we were talking about sort of like, what are the solutions? So this is actually fresh in my mind. We've been kind of talking about, like, from an e-commerce perspective, I think one of the most obvious use cases is when I think about e-commerce, I don't think about, like, a lot of people think about like Amazon, right? And but I'm thinking about the organic mattress company and the e-commerce site, which is probably much more of your listeners than, I don't think Jeff Bezos is listening, but if he is, hi. If not, I think most of your e-commerce followers probably fall into the situation of a smaller website and are trying to drive traffic. They have the same goals as any other business, right? They're trying to generate leads. They're just trying to have more conversations with those leads, qualify them, and then showcase, what their product is, how it's different, and hopefully provide value to their customers. And so that's at the core, that's what Drift can do for you, right? You can help. You need the creativity and you need the use case of, you're going to have certain qualification questions. You're going to have certain things to show up about your product. And all that is totally doable in Drift. So it's customizable, but you could use, for instance, if one of the things you do with your e-commerce site is you have a really robust blog, you have a lot of information, you get a lot of traffic there, you can set up bots and automation to, once someone comes onto a blog a couple times, they've been to your blog 3 times, and you say, this person, they probably want to subscribe to our blog. They'd be a great use case to get our email. You can set up logic and Drift saying, okay, show them this message that says, hey, just send you these posts when we publish them right to your inbox. You can set up a bot just to do that, or have the bot come in and ask a couple qualification questions when someone comes to your homepage for the first time. Why did they come there? What were they looking for? Every person, every site visitor comes for a different reason, and they come from a variety of different places. Just getting that intel might be able to help you send them down a path towards a direction of success, basically, whatever they're there for, right? And also helps you segment and say, okay, these people are not qualified to purchase our products, or they're not really interested, and then it helps you say, okay, I don't want to send them a bunch of emails, or I don't want to give them a bad experience. You can qualify someone and say, this person should go down this path, and then you can develop a whole funnel around with bots and email to communicate with someone and help them through the buying process. Or you can say, hey, this person is not qualified based on, this kind of intel that we have on them, and based on, one or two questions we asked them. So I'm not going to send them a bunch of emails. I'm not going to send them a bunch of blog posts because I know they're not interested in it, right? So there's a whole range of different things you can do for that.
So the opportunity to chat and connect with your visitors directly in real time, does that affect the buyer's journey in any way? Do they move down the funnel any faster? Do they purchase differently? Or how would you say this affects just the buyer's journey and maybe the e-commerce industry in general?
Sure. So I would say one of the most common pieces of feedback we hear from customers is that it's actually making their sales cycle faster. And that's because if you think about it, the first time the way we have sales and marketing set up today is we think about it as being, a several week process, and we're gonna convert you on some level into a contact. We're gonna have your email. We're gonna progressively profile you. We're gonna send you emails. Then we're gonna start calling you. When in reality, the first time someone lands on your website, they probably have the most intent at that point. So if someone hears about your product, they're really interested, that's when they're going to be sort of the most energetic and most excited about learning more about your product. So why would you say, okay, sign up for a blog, when you could say, hey, can I give you the fast lane? What are you here for? Can I ask you a couple of questions and kind of send you in the right direction? And it's mutually beneficial because the person that comes to the website, let's just figure out why they're there, what they need, and you can do that through the bots. So from the company perspective, you're filtering out who you should be focusing on. And so once someone comes in, let's say they're a qualified lead, and your process is, okay, once they're qualified, I want to have someone on my team talk to them. You can just route the conversation. You can either, based on Salesforce routing or based on some other logic you've set up, you can get the right person on the line, if you will, to talk to that person, have a conversation, give them the information they need. I think e-commerce is a very interesting use case. I think in particular as like if I go back to that analogy of, when you put up a website, you build all this information, all this content, but you don't have, a platform like Drift connected to it, you just have an empty store, but there's no employees there to welcome the person or help them or get moving through the process. I think e-commerce is a perfect use case for using conversational marketing because it connects the person to the end user, the buyer. I think about all the things Amazon's done to give the buyer information. They add all these reviews. You can add pictures to reviews. All this context. If you look at the Amazon website, there's so many different things and filters and all this information. When it's like, well, if you can at scale give the person one channel, which would be a conversation window, or just thinking about it, that's going to be a lot more successful than a bunch of checkboxes and reviews and pictures and all this information. I think that would be true for almost any e-commerce site. Just having that one channel to say, all right, this is where wherever I'm stuck in this buying process, this is where I can get the answer and I can move forward.
Brilliant. Fantastic. So finally, a bit off topic question, but this is always fun. I really want to know if there's anyone within the e-commerce or marketing industry that you admire or you think is doing a really great job at the moment, and why?
Sure. So there are, in the general marketing population, there are a bunch of companies and people that I admire, but I'll stick to e-commerce for now. I'll talk about on two ends of the spectrum with e-commerce. One, a great e-commerce provider, which is Shopify. I love their brand. I actually wrote I did a slide deck in a post about sort of how they found their niche market and how they've just aligned all of their messaging around small businesses, SMBs, that they want to focus on that have never done e-commerce before. This is the platform for you. Like that's what they've done. They found that niche and they've absolutely owned it. On the other end of it, of an e-commerce website, one that I love is Wayfair. I've been a Wayfair customer. I've bought several items from their furniture, big pieces of furniture, which 10 years ago you would never think about buying over the internet and having shipped to you. You would just think I have to go to the store and get that. And they've changed that mindset completely by making the whole buying process so seamless. They've made it I love their brand. I love what they do. And they're thinking so far forward with augmented reality and shopping. And I just think they're going to be leading the charge, especially in the furniture e-commerce world of the future of buying. Being able to communicate to all your customers and delivering an amazing customer experience throughout the process. They've developed a great website, great UI, great buying experience. And so they're definitely another one of my e-commerce crushes, we'll call them.
Great. So Dan, thank you so much for your time and your really interesting inputs.
Thank you so much for having me, Julie. It's a pleasure to be here.
That's all for now, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe and give Ecommerce Boost a nice rating. Cheers!
This session of Ecommerce Boost was produced by Sleeknote. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on tactics and strategies that'll help boost your e-commerce.